Hello and welcome to Let's Ride with Stonewolf. This is Ecclefechan. We are on our way. First exit. I was about to say we're on our way to Scotland, but technically we are actually in Scotland at the present moment in time. We are on our way to the Scottish Highlands. There we go. That will also get outdated during this ride. Anyway, right now we're on our way to Abington. Did I pick the right one? I think so. I should pay attention to the lady more. My brain has turned off. That is the best thing ever. Yes, we're on our way to Abington. And it's not been too bad a day's riding, although we have had a couple of hitches with charging on the way. Mainly like nothing really to do with the charges themselves. Just people being in the way. Actually, my bike at the last charge stop charged too fast. It was done in 25 minutes, and that was annoying because I was still eating my lunch. But yeah, we're behind time because of that, but you know, whatever. We'll get there. I'm sure the hotel will be extremely pleased when I arrive at like almost midnight. I certainly will be displeased because I have to get up at 4 AM in 2 days' time. But as I came into Ecclefechan, I was talking about efficiency. Oh yes. So there is this whole thing where people perceive electric vehicles as being really good around town and really bad out on the open road. And especially bad on motorways. This is not unwarranted, but you do need to understand the physics behind that to understand why. And the reason why is because of efficiency, right? And it's not that EVs are inefficient at high speeds. That's not actually true. The actual reason is that petrol vehicles or diesel vehicles, you know, internal combustion vehicles, are just really inefficient. They're really inefficient at low speeds, and they're more efficient at high speeds. But they're still really inefficient even at high speeds. The thing is, right, the inefficiency at low speeds is masked by the fact that they don't have to work against air resistance, right? So they're really inefficient at low speeds. And then when you speed up to higher speeds, right, they become more efficient. But you now have the air resistance, which reduces their efficiency, so that it appears that their consumption is not hugely changed between the two. I mean, there, you know, obviously there's a noticeable difference, but you know, because they're more efficient at higher speeds, they do get their peak efficiency in and around 55. Above that, sort of aero starts to be more of a problem, and below that, like, just inefficiency becomes a problem. We're turning right up here. Yeah. Turn right. So, what you find is that second exit, the range of efficiencies for internal combustion vehicles is quite narrow. For EVs, what you have is they're just efficient all the time, right? They're really efficient. We're up in like the 90s all the time. Now what this means is, in the city, right, at low speed, they have all of that efficiency to work with. And they also have regen, which is great in the city, because you can use it essentially in lieu of your brakes. And that means that, like, their low energy storage capacity basically doesn't matter, right? But what then happens is you take them out on high speed, so you take them on a motorway, say, and what happens there is air resistant significantly increases the amount of work required to move the vehicle. And that means that your draw goes up, right? Now, the EV is still the same amount of amazing efficiency, however, it's having to do more work, just like the internal combustion vehicle. The difference is the internal combustion vehicle becomes more efficient because that loading profile suits the internal combustion engine. So what you end up with is, see, it does actually make noise. Those guys turned their heads and were like, what? What you end up with is your EV has a really noticeable range drop on the motorway, right? Now, part of the reason for this is because it has a low energy storage, right? So you've got that low range on the motorway because that's where you're working the hardest. And when you're in the city, it doesn't matter, right? That's what people perceive. Whereas a car, you're going to lose your range by driving the city because that's where you're most inefficient. But then when you go out on the motorway, you can tend to get a bit better. If you drive slowly, you're going to get more because you can hit that 55 sweet spot if you really care to do so. Note, I do not care to do so. But what you have to remember is a petrol vehicle has something like 3 times the energy capacity. Like, really seriously, petrol has a lot of energy in it. It's just that internal combustion vehicles are really inefficient. And that is why EVs, appear to suck so much on the motorway. It's not that they suck more, right? It's that the efficiencies kind of work differently on electric vehicles to how they work on internal combustion. And because the energy storage is starting out from such a low point, then you notice that change in efficiency a lot more. I'm explaining this very badly. But why electric motorcycles have problems. So firstly, you don't have a big battery. Even though you've not got very much to move, you are talking about like performance vehicles. I'm sorry, but like if you're in any Western country, motorcycles are performance toys. That's how it is. You can get up on your high horse, but oh no, I use this for commuting or whatever. I strap a milk carton or milk crate to the back and like transport my shopping, whatever, man. I don't have a car. This is my only vehicle, and I'm telling you, this is a performance toy. Okay? Go and look at every conversation that we have about motorcycles and examine the way that we talk about them and come back and tell me that this is not a performance toy. So, your performance toy needs to do things that are not based on efficiency. Right? It needs to do things that actively work against efficiency. Like going really fast. And like being really performant and turning really quickly and being naked and fun and looking cool. And consequently, it is not always possible to do the thing that electric cars do to make themselves really efficient, which is that they use aero. Now, if you look at me, I'm riding a naked bike, right? I have this, right? This does nothing, right? My shoulders, my arms, my head, right? It's all up on my, even my chest is like in the windstream here. I'm only doing 60. Right, the harder I go, the less of me that little shield covers. And this is the big shield, right? This is an optional extra. So, motorcycles suck at aero, right? That is why I tend not to ride this thing on the motorway, because if I ride at motorway speeds on the motorway, I'm struggling against aero and I'm losing a lot of range. Now some motorcycles are better at aero than others, but certain types of motorcycle are always going to have this problem. Naked motorbikes are always going to have this problem. This is a naked motorbike. Right? I know it's like got all of the lower fairings on, but it's still a naked bike. The Green Tourer, the Energica Xperia, which is not a bike that I'm a massive fan of, but it seems to be very good. It has a big aero fairing. And consequently, it can do high-speed hauls like this thing cannot. I would be very interested to find out how well the Ego fares at motorway hauls compared to this. Although, the Ego is a bike that you would have to get down in a tuck in order to achieve those aero gains with. And that's not very comfortable. This thing you could tuck on, and it does make a dramatic difference. It really honestly does make a dramatic difference. When I'm on the motorway, I tuck. And it's uncomfortable, and I don't like doing it. And I will only do it for a while, and then what I will do is I will find a truck that's doing 60, and I'll pull up behind that truck, and then I can sit in a nice calm air. And let me tell you, there's an efficiency gauge here, right? I can put that on. If I'm feeling like I'm not going to make it, I could be like, and adjust my speed and stuff so that I'm gonna get there. I don't do that very much. But if I use that, I can tell you that if I tuck, or if I like hang out behind a truck, there's a huge difference in consumption. I did this on the way to Confuzzled the other month, where I sat behind a truck for ages, and he was doing like 58, 59, and my gasometer went up to like double my battery percentage. So like if I'd been sitting behind that truck for the entirety of my battery, I would have done 200 miles on a motorway. So something to bear in mind is that one of the reasons why electric motorbikes have a problem is just simple physics. They are super efficient. They do not become less efficient because they're going at high speeds. They just have more work to do. And your internal combustion bike, your petrol bike, or gas bike, depending on how you want to term it, or hydrogen combustion bike, if you will, it's the same. It has to do more work to maintain that high speed because it is trying to push against the air. And it just so happens that the inefficiencies in its engine are less at higher speed. Because when I say that it's more efficient at higher speed, this thing is like 90-something% efficient. Your petrol motorbike is maybe like 35% efficient at the absolute outside, running at like a constant high rev. So, yeah. It's a little physics lesson for you. EVs are not less efficient on the motorway. They just have more work to do. They just have more work to do, and they are as efficient on the motorway as they are off the motorway. And the reason why they're good in tons is because they're really efficient. The reason why ICE vehicles aren't good in tons is because in those situations they're really inefficient. That's just how it works. Does that mean EVs are always going to be bad on the motorway? No. No, it does not. You know, if you can put an aero fairing on your bike, it's going to do a lot better. But you have to remember that because of the way the bike is constructed and the way that you sit in and operate it, you are always going to be just this big sail that's sitting on top of it, and its aero fairing has to get all of the air around you to prevent that from happening. So if you like naked bikes, that's a compromise you're going to have to accept. It's one I had to accept. And the way that I have accepted that compromise is just not drive on motorways, if I can avoid it. And to be honest, this is more relaxed. This is more chill. I'm enjoying this more than if I was on the motorway, because if I was on the motorway, I'd just be like, I'd be focused on like how many miles are left, you know? But on this, I'm just like focused on enjoying my ride. I would like to know how far it is to Abington, though. Just like, it'd be nice. Forget. What was it? Yeah, we're not that far, actually. Just doing some quick mental arithmetic. Alright, it's doing it again. 63 is fine. There we go. Yeah. Tangled in my cable. Stupid Velcro. Yeah, look at those hills. This is what I mean by like this motorway is kind of okay. I don't think I said that in this episode. I said it in previous episodes. Like, occasionally there's a motorway where it's like second exit. Occasionally you find like a motorway where it's like, yeah, it's a motorway, but I guess it's alright. You know, like the A1 direct in Italy, the M6, M7 in the UK. Although I will say, you know, the M6 north of Manchester in the UK is it's kind of like that. It's scenic, and it's not just like straight. I think there was a distance written on that sign, and I totally missed it. It's like 5 or 6 miles, I don't know. I regret thinking about that now. It is important to understand, like, the physics behind some of these things. You know, it is very easy, and yeah, I touched on this in previous episodes, but like, it's very easy for people to spread fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But actually, when you think about the reasons why it is, it's like, oh, okay, no, this actually makes sense. You know? Just like it's easy to spread fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and then you bump into someone who actually rides an electric vehicle, or an electric motorbike rather, and it's like, oh, actually that's pretty good. I didn't realize, you know? It's, I guess it's perspective, you know? Experience lends you perspective. We're sort of sandwiched between the motorway and the railway. Actually all the way over there. Okay. Oh, we're going up into like a valley. I think part of the reason why I like have a little bit of oh my god, what a fucking hole that is. It's a bit of editing else to do there. Yeah, I think one of the reasons why, like, my experience of this particular motorway is like, hey, it's alright, is because I have taken the Scotia convoy a few times. It's like a whole bunch of people who band together to convoy up to Scotiacon in Scotland. It's kind of a fun thing to do if you're going to that con. Oh, it is like the staff convoy, so it's quite early and it's quite late, and they maybe prefer if you didn't really join it, you know, if you're just coming, but it's fun times. It's kind of one of those things where, like, if you know the people who you know, if you don't, you don't. bunch of 6th gen VFRs in this trip, and a couple of 5s as well. And a 1200. Forgot about the 1200. 1200's an odd one. You know, they have a great amount of love for the 6th gen VFR. When they tried to replace both it and the ST1300 on one bike, and it just did not work. It wasn't what the VFR fans wanted, and it wasn't what the Pan-European fans wanted. It was some kind of weird hybrid and an awful range. Yeah, talk about awful range, like, you know, it's like a 1200 motorbike with a big tank. It was like a 20-something meter tank that could do just about 250 miles. Like what? But a lot of power though. It's basically like an engine the size of the Pan-European, but instead of being a lazy touring tune, it's kind of got a sporty tune to it. But it flopped so hard because nobody wanted it. It was too lean for the Pan-European fans, and it was too hefty for the VFR fans. All the VFR fans wanted was like, can we have a liter VFR please? And they got this sort of weird halfway house between the VFR and the ST1300, and it wasn't what anyone wanted. What the ST1300 fans wanted was just like a new version of the bike that they had. The version that they had at the time, and it was getting a bit long in the tooth, and they wanted something new. And Honda dropped the ball epically. They got burned so hard in that bike. And I think that's part of what contributed to, like, the end of Honda as a cool, innovative motorcycle company that did interesting things. But, you know, if you want to be that kind of company, you have to accept that some of the things you could do are gonna flop. You know? Not everything you do is gonna hit. Some things are gonna flop, and you need to be able to just absorb that. And I think that Honda got burned on the VFR 1200, and I don't think they've forgotten it, because they're just such a boring company these days. They really are. There, and you get the train, you're here. It's cool. I like this kind of thing, you know? Oh, we'll see. I would like to get to Abington pretty soon. I'm feeling like it's time for me to take a break. And I'm starting to get a little low in charge. Miles. Wow. Have I epically screwed up on my distance calculation for this one? I think so, because oh well. I'm still gonna get there with more than 10%. can understand people who think they're ugly. I like him. Yeah, I think they really work in this kind of terrain as well. This is actually the M7 at this point. It becomes the M7 when it comes into Scotland for some weird reason. It's the M6 in England. Basically all the way from the M1 up to the Scottish border, it's the M6, and then it's the M7. Probably, I guess. I'm not sure if they run to. Yeah, I don't think the West Coast runs to Edinburgh. I think you have to transfer to a different train somewhere, like Motherwell or something, if you want to go to Glasgow. Yeah, there it is. It's not going very fast. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure where I've miscalculated here. I had expected to like be at my next stop already, but it's not a terrible miscalculation. Just kind of an odd one. We have quite, definitively passed our halfway point for today, which is good. It is, however, 20 to 4. Yeah, it is 20 to 4, which is feeling a little bit, but I think I mean, normally I'm behind schedule. I feel like it's a problem on this particular run because I think my original schedule was like getting into my hotel at 10. Maybe it was 9. It's lit anyway, you know. Look at that valley. The railway, the curve of the railway over there. Gravel. Yeah, like I said earlier, you know, even the most comfortable motorcycle isn't. I guess there's like a couple of outliers out there, like a Gold Wing, which is basically just like a sofa on 2 wheels. But, you know, even on the most comfortable motorbikes, after a couple of hours you get to that point where you're like, you know. I have been on the road since 7 this morning. My brakes have been a little longer than I wanted them to, but starting to feel it. Hey, this is a Hyper Naked. It's not really intended to be like a super comfy motorbike, but it's not too bad, I have to say. I'd actually say it compares fairly well to my old VFR, and I think that's mainly just the riding position is a little less aggressive than the VFR. But at the same time, like when you are on it all day, you do get to that point where it's like, I need a break, and I need a break becomes more and more frequent as your day goes on. Oh, I think I know. Be that. This route has been generally uphill, and I haven't taken that into account. But you know, that's not all of it. It is also actually longer than I thought it was, so you have to figure out where I went wrong there. I think it's maybe Carlisle, probably. Slight wrong turn I took to get to Carlisle, and then like taking a nip around the motorway probably was longer than the straight through route in terms of distance. Now there is a charger just in there, so that's nice. We're not going to use it because there's a services just up the road where we can also go to a charger. But since this is Abington, if you've got anything to say, hit me up in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you did enjoy it, you know, check out some of my other videos. If you like them, consider subscribing. And if you would like to reward me for entertaining you today, you can find my coffee link in the description below. Bye-bye.